And welcome, folks, to an abbreviated version of the Power Trading Hour. We had technical difficulties with Skype today, and we're coming to you from the miracle of Google Hangouts. I don't know anybody that's ever used it, and I never have, but it seems to work fine. We're going to champion this as a backup to Skype if it ever goes out again. But I am here, your one and only Squeezably Soft host, and we're once more into the breach, dear friends. Had a market that was kind of drifting higher in the morning, and we had two double whammies, and we'll get into those today before the end of the show. As we start the bottom of the hour, volume has been light. It was light to the upside this morning. It's a light to the downside this afternoon. Just 2.1 billion shares, which is coming off of 5.8 or 5.9 billion shares on Friday, is very interesting. Now, the other thing is interesting is I continue to see a couple of these days where it certainly looks like the machines are out having a great time. And the reason I say that is that the index volumes, or the stocks sold around indexes or ETFs, are mammoth compared to the underlying stocks and the volume of the underlying stocks that are out there. So there is a great divergence when you look at the charts of an individual stock, and then you start looking at these index volumes and you go, something's drastically changed in the last few weeks. And it is these occasionally huge moves in these markets. And my thought is that a lot of these high frequency traders are really at the level of destabilizing the markets, but maybe the people that actually own these stocks are not buying and selling them as much as it would be indicated by a lot of the lightning and thunder that the market would have you believe. Doesn't mean that we're not going up or down. I'm just saying that there's something significantly different that I have not seen before, and that is this kind of monstrous volume in the indexes that is not in the underlying stocks that should be making up. If you're in an ETF and you sell a share or 100 shares, then theoretically you should be buying and selling stocks below. It's not happening. There's just a huge amount of movement. And my guess is that in these whippy markets with the huge moves, there's somebody out there making a great deal of cash by only buying and selling when it makes sense. And at that level, they probably are the titans of Wall Street. They are not me, and they are not you, most likely. But it's I'm going to try to figure more of it out. But I was looking at several big Dow stocks, and the volume probably should have been at least 50 to 70% higher in those Dow stocks on Friday. And you just look at the SPYs and the volume in those, or in the rest of the ETFs, and we've got everybody trading the ETFs that theoretically should be moving the stocks in it to some extent, but they are not. People are not selling and buying. And the question is, at what point does all the volume happen just at the end of the day in stocks? And basically, we're trading in a bucket shop circa 2015 instead of circa 1901. If you're not familiar with bucket shops, they were the kind of the equivalent of going in and having a ticker, and you could buy or sell a stock during the day, or even hold it overnight. But you were on 10-to-1 margin. And all the stock had to do was kind of go against you a little bit, and you were out. And you never really were buying those particular stocks or bonds. You were literally betting against the bucket house that the stock would or would not go your way. It was not uncommon to see a lot of times these bucket shops go out of business when the market really got on a tear, either up or down, and wiped out these guys, because, of course, they're on the opposite side of that 10-to-1. But most of the time, the volatility would just take the people out. Of course, And a lot of those places made huge amounts of money. A lot of them closed overnight, snuck out the back door, and that was it. People never got their cash. But it was kind of a gambling casino, really before we had anything like Las Vegas. They were very popular along the East Coast and a handful of big cities like St. Louis and a few others, but mostly in the East Coast, let's put it that way, and about as far west as St. Louis, Missouri. But a very interesting discussion about it in the Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. So we're out here at 1965 on the S&P cash. We're up 7 points. Like I said, volume is not very interesting today. We also have, of course, options rollover today and tomorrow. And that's also going to be a little bit interesting. Anyway, we got to get this party started because it's going to be a short one today. Everything is awesome. Yes, it is. But we really wanted to click this one. That it's all just a little bit of history repeating. On this day in 1893, Charles E. and Frank J. or J. Frank Urea proudly show off the first gasoline-powered automobile built in the U.S., taking their new Urea out for a public spin through the streets of Springfield, Massachusetts. And today started cars. I brought this up mostly because, of course, the news in Volkswagen. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. One of the biggest things that happened in the market today, of course, was the thumping of the IBB. It is trading out at 340 at the present time. Now, on Friday, in fact, Friday morning, an article came out in U.S. Today that talked about a businessman, a hedge fund kind of guy, who bought the rights to a drug, and he's done this before. The question was, he supposedly rose the price of this thing 5,000%, and it kind of really interested me. I'm alive today because of a drug that was about $100,000 a month, and it unfortunately ended up after several years of being on it was killing a lot of people. It saved my life and killed a bunch of others. But one of the things was it's not any stranger, but this drug was very interesting to me on why they would do something like this. I found 5 different alternatives to it. No one's really talking about it on TV, just that it's a drug. Basically, it's an anti-malaria drug. There's lots of other drugs that go against it. And the only reason I can see that this guy would want to move the price of this up to $750 a week, I guess is what this is that he don't want to make it anymore. It's not like there isn't other drugs available for it. And he bought this as part of a company. So it's probably one of these drugs he just wanted to get rid of. One of the interesting things, too, is this drug was originally patented in 1953. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it was drugs after 1970s that had the more limited patent protection. Maybe this one's grandfathered in. Very tough to find out about this, other than the fact that it's an incredibly little used drug that has 5 competitors against it. And of course, mostly used in countries where there is no money to be made on it. And I don't know if it's much to do about nothing or if it's everything to do about everything. But of course, Hillary Clinton running for president came out and did a tweet, of course, remembering this news was out Friday morning in USA Today. And within just a few seconds of her tweet, talking about how she wanted to kind of do a little gut check on price raises on drugs and pharmaceuticals in the United States, the IBB starts to pretty much crater down as low as 337 today. And I don't know if a lot of people are actually buying it, if they used it, if this was just an excuse to run the table by the high-frequency machines, which it may be. Politically, of course, she's going up against a gentleman that used to run across the border to Canada to buy drugs. So this may be one way for her to cut the legs off under Bernie Sanders. So it may be something that she's truly committed to. It may be something that is politically motivated. I have no idea what goes on in the minds of politicians. But I do know that this was probably made to order for her and her candidacy, as it takes out one of the legs, or major legs, that he wanted to use in his campaign. So the plot thickens. This drug used very little, 5 different alternatives to it that are all able to be had as a generic version of it. Like I said, this drug's 1953, one of the few drugs that hasn't been changed, but the patent is still available on it. I'm going to have to go back and look at this tonight. Very interesting that a drug from 1953 would still have its patent available. And basically all these drugs are almost the same. The only difference in this one, that pyrimethamine is the technical name of it. The only difference in this drug was that you can start it the day that you go to some third world hellhole and think you're going to get malaria. And that was the other ones. You might have to start up to 3 or 5 days. You might have to take them every day. I mean, it's not a giant hurdle to use one of these other drugs that sells for $5 a tablet. So I don't know if it's, like I said, it's going to probably take a while to figure out what's going on here. But nobody really digging into if this is a big deal or not, just yelling the headline, guy raises prices 5,000%. He's done it before. He had another drug that he raised 2,000%, but these are all drugs that literally don't make any money. And why he would buy it is beyond me also. So I don't know. There's a lot more to this. I think if you dig into it, there may be a lot more going on here. But so far, not a lot of decent reporting. I basically dug all this stuff up by just going to the internet and Googling a lot of these things and finding them out. But interesting nonetheless. Probably the more interesting part to me is, of course, the political component and the probably one-upsmanship between at least the 2 leading candidates in the Democratic Party right now. And, of course, I'm always skeptical that someone was short either in or around a political operative. They could have made a lot of money today buying puts at 10:30, knowing a tweet was going out at 11. But that's just me. I'm skeptical and cynical. But it's put me in good stead in the stock market. It's an AIDS drug. No, it can be used as an aid. It can be used for AIDS. And one of the reasons why is if you've already got AIDS, then it is one of the drugs that it's approved, but the other ones are still approved. Tom O'Brien's telling me in the den out here. And it's just one of these ones where if you already have malaria and you have AIDS, and you probably have 100 other things apparently that are going to kill you too. But the research I looked at, I don't know what he's saying, but at least the pharmaceutical test reference states that it's only used, or let me put it this way, it's only been approved for, at least in the United States, for malaria and other parasites. It has not been approved for AIDS yet. At least that's what was out on the physician's desk reference today. Again, we talked about that. Kind of interesting also, the 10 most expensive U.S. drugs out here. Cost per year per patient. I didn't really know it, but I kind of looked it up at the same time. But I thought it was very interesting. Solaris, $536,000. Naglazyme, $485,000 a year. Kalydeco for cystic fibrosis, $300,000 a year. Centronese, $230,000 a year. HP Aclar Gel, $205,000 a year. Sprycel, $150,000 a year. Pomalast, $147,000 a year. Xyrem, $143,000 a year. Itrib, $137,000 a year. And Revlimid, anemia caused by MDS, $129,000 a year. Anyway, a lot of money in drugs these days, but I don't know. Volkswagen, and it has nothing to do with these drugs. I was just getting busy out here. And very interesting discussion about Volkswagen today. I just happen to have one of these things that people are talking about, if you see right here. And if you look under the dash of your car, you're going to see this small connector that looks just like this. Hopefully you can see it. Probably not lit very well. Maybe if I turn it at an angle, you can see it a little bit better. Anyway, kind of interesting that they got hammered for that. And what is more interesting to me was that the code to do this has been around for a long time. It floated around the internet. And so if someone truly did this at Volkswagen, it didn't take much effort. People have been setting and changing the software so that this could be done for years, especially in diesel trucks. You could rechip them and get significantly more power than it came from the factory. Factory tended to look the other way. Ford, big Ford trucks, 250s, that kind of stuff, and also Expeditions that had diesel engines in them. I knew people that were changing the code in them and getting going from 12 or 13 miles per gallon to 20 miles per gallon in their diesel Expeditions. Anyway, this code floated around. If you lived in some states where you got your emissions checked, they would plug it in and it would do it. So it's been around there for a while. I suspect that if we look in there to that code for Volkswagen, we're going to find that code that has been floating around the internet for the last 15 years. They probably just plugged it in there, spent all of about 5 minutes and said, voila, now we can have two different programs out here. One when we're driving the car down the road and one when they check us. And it's kind of interesting because that had been around for a long time and been a way for some people to avoid emissions in the states that continued to check it. But I thought it was kind of interesting. Anyway, it is a mad market out here. And we will take a look at it. 1966, 1967 on the S&P cash. No, it was not a victim of an industrial espionage. I can't imagine that no one checks the codes anymore that goes into these machines, the cars, because they had to know this was not something. And also the way they reacted to it was not like they didn't know. Let me put it that way. They're all going, we're going to do a internal investigation on this deal. But interestingly enough, but yeah. But that's it. I know nothing. Anyway, we're going to go to break here. We're going to come back. We're going to do some stocks very quickly. Then we're going to go to Tom O'Brien for the next 2 hours. At 4 o'clock, we have Red Hat coming out after the bell. We'll take a quick look at that, a couple of look at some other stocks. And this market's just kind of flailing around here today. We'll be back in a minute.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com. This coming Tuesday, September 22nd, Tom O'Brien will publish the 700th issue of his weekly newsletter, The Gold Report. It's amazing to think that Tom started his newsletter over 13 years ago when gold was trading under $300 an ounce. To celebrate the 700th issue, you can sign up right now at a 20% savings off the regular monthly price, and you can lock in that low rate for as long as you remain a subscriber. The Gold Report is Tom's weekly newsletter covering the gold market as well as a variety of gold mining equities. The Gold Report is published every Tuesday afternoon with a market update sent out to subscribers on Monday mornings. Tom will walk you through what's going on in the gold and metals market each week, as well as providing specific buy and sell recommendation on the mining equities themselves. Now is the perfect time to sign up for the Gold Report. The 700th issue is published Tuesday, and that's when this sale ends, so act now. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhoades, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're back. Wanted to look at those charts real quick. I was just looking up in the physician's desk reference real quick. The ability to use this drug on AIDS patients, and it's off-label, which means that it's not legal to use here in the United States without a waiver. So it has not been approved by the FDA to use with that, but you actually have to have AIDS, and then you have to have malaria too. So I don't know. Anyway, again, like I said, I think the story on this is a lot deeper. I don't know what it is, but somehow I have a feel it's a lot deeper. Red Hat out here is going to be moving higher, and that is the 1.7 million shares today. Earnings after the bell. The next high would be $74.37 from August 7th. The next low, $68.36. I couldn't get a good read what the options are telling us, mostly because of rollover. So this one is a little tougher. But it is, what else do you have out here? Red Hat, if you're not familiar with them, is a company that basically takes a public domain version of Unix, which is an operating system like Windows or the rest of them. And they make specialized drivers and offer specialized support. Of course, all these big servers across the land that give you your web pages every day, probably about 70% of them run on a version of Linux And a great deal of these are also run by Red Hat, although more than likely Red Hat's customers are corporations that need somebody to write something for them. They can call up the phone and get Red Hat to do it. They can also get Red Hat to show up and fix something if someone doesn't understand anything. So it is a way of going back and getting a cheaper operating system. Microsoft's licenses were huge for their servers, and over 2005, it really started catching a lot of fire when companies like Red Hat and others decided to offer support for an operating system that was basically free and offer the ability to, write specialized drivers, modify it for specialized hardware. They've been doing that and offering the service and doing fairly well. It's very tough to get a read on what's going on this, but what it will tell you is a lot of what's happening in the server business. So I'll be watching them, not so much for the price that changes tonight, either up or down, but what their guidance is for people buying new servers, the new amount of licenses they sell to run their specialized versions of the operating system, and what they say. It's going to tell us a great deal more about what companies like Salesforce and just Amazon's web services, that kind of stuff is going to continue moving on. And that is that it is, it's going to be interesting. Anyway, Tom O'Brien will be able to call that for you in 4 o'clock hour. And we've had a shortened show out here, but a good show, I think. Anyway, we've got that. We've got more earnings coming up over the next few days. Nothing really market changing. We're going to have a few things. Going to continue going out there. And, of course, the next big date, already mark it on your calendar, next Fed meeting announcement, October 26th, I think. I think that's it. We'll see you then. See you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.